We've had a wonderful time here in Sundance. Much of the time, the weather has been like it is today, mid-70s, light wind, mostly sunny. The last two ride vids I made were about specific geologically or historically unique places featuring great riding roads, lots of twisties, good pavement, and great scenery. This vid is a bit different. Open range, higher speeds are what this one is about. But still, the front part is the same. The 2.5 miles from the campground to US 14, a stretch of road we've probably traveled a few dozen times by now, has been a real treat, as nearly every time we leave the campground we see deer or an occasional pronghorn in a beautiful setting. Several times we've seen doe and fawn together, and once even saw the fawn suckling, which I've never seen a deer do before. We don't really have the right camera gear to capture good images of them, unfortunately, just the setting. There's cattle too, of course, which have been their own curiosity. The herd mentality is strong with them. They'll congregate tightly packed together by the fence near the road, despite having 1,000 acres to roam at will with good cell service. Dispersed grazing isn't their thing, apparently. I turn right on US 14 West this time towards Devil's Tower. But instead of turning north on County Road 24 toward the National Monument, I'll continue west on US 14 to the Keyhole Reservoir and a little town called Pine Haven. We went up to Devil's Tower when we first arrived. It does have a much different look depending on which side you're on. We didn't hike entirely around it like some do, though. It's also obviously a special sacred place. You can feel it. prayer cloths adorn many of the trees. Reading from an Amanda Hitchcock article about Devil's Tower histories, quote, "Passed down through centuries of Native American history, sacred narratives surrounding the formation and spiritual significance of Devil's Tower are still told today, preserved as a traditional part of American Indian culture across the region. Though some details vary across different tribes, many aspects of the first stories of Devil's Tower remain the same." Unquote. And then there's the historic publicity stunt pulled by George Hopkins in 1941, 2 months before Pearl Harbor. Hopkins parachuted onto the top of Devil's Tower. He had neither permission or a good backup plan on how to get down. He needed both. I'll put some links to the escapade in the description below. I wanted to check out Keyhole Reservoir in State Park for its kayaking potential. Unfortunately, it's like many of the reservoirs we've come across, treeless and generally uninteresting for our purposes. Fishing might be a different story, I don't know. There's a nice small community in Pine Haven, tucked right up into the fold of the lake. It has a golf course, a few places other than the state park to put a trailer, and judging from the radar reminders and slow speeds, they like things on the quiet side here. I wasn't going to pay a fee to get closer to the lake. It didn't seem worth the look. So I headed back, opting for the 80-mile-an-hour I-90 to get me back to Sundance. I kind of lucked out here. I just happened to slow a bit before seeing him. And here too, it looked as if he would continue his U-turn, but he stopped midway. I then thought he'd back up, but he saw me, thankfully. All in all, a good ride. It's always an adventure.